Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to the southern wing of the Stink Bug Works. The tide over there on the eastern wing is going to be a long project, so do not expect daily updates on it. I want to finish some stuff here that's on the plate, and I will take advantage of this. When I'm mixing up epoxy for this, I might throw a little on the boat as well. I'm about at the point where I think I can epoxy the sponson formers, bulkheads, to the sponson stringers. Let's call it the canoe stringers. So I may do that, and then I'll explain the second coat of waterproofing epoxy and how I will apply it and when. So stay tuned for that. This guy, I finally got my carbon fiber square tube that's not pull-truded. It's actually a fabric, multi-directional fabric, so it should work. I now have a 5/16 or 5/32 spiral reamer that I can ream this hole that goes through the what we call that. We'll call that the strut arm. So I need to ream that to 5/32 because I'm going to put in a brass tube, and I want a perfect snug fit. So we'll ream it for a perfect snug fit. Here's what I'm going to do on this bracket. I now have this nice 1/4-inch solid carbide reamer. That's not a stepped reamer, although it is a tapered reamer, but that'll be cool. In fact, I can darn near, I can start this with a 1/8-inch drill and then just ream it. I can ream that sucker. I'm going to give it a reaming. Anyway, what's going to happen is this is only about a millimeter. Let's just call it a 1/16 of an inch, and those bearings are 1/8 of an inch thick. So a 1/16 of an inch of the bearing is going to stick out above this surface if the inner surface is flat. I want this arm to be as tall as possible. If it were 6 miles tall, it would have absolutely no slop at all. If it were a millimeter thick, it could have quite a bit of slop. So the taller this is, the better. So I'm going to spread the bearings apart, and what I'm going to do for that, I have to have some way to keep the bearings in here and keep them from falling out. So I'm going to take a couple pieces of carbon fiber, and what I'm going to do is, with a 1/4-inch end mill, I'm going to mill about halfway through this piece of carbon fiber. And then on the bottom, I'm going to drill a 1/16 hole in the center. And in the top, I'm going to drill a 1/8-inch hole in the center. And so what that will do is, so I'll have this 1/4-inch diameter countersink that's a 1/16 of an inch deep that I'm going to just glue onto here, square with that bearing. And so that will capture the bearing, and it will give me a 1/16 inch hole to push the pin out. And the pin being an 1/8 inch, I'm going to drill an 1/8 inch hole here, and I might waller it out just a tiny bit so it'll come out real easy. So that will be my pivot pin. I'm going to use a stainless steel I'm probably going to use a piece of stainless steel tube I have. It's pretty accurate. If not, I think I have some stainless steel 1/8 inch precision rod somewhere. So I'm going to put this on an 1/8 inch rod. So that's my plan. And this side will have a hole big enough for the pin to come out. Then I can insert the bearings from the inside. The rod, what will be the rod can go into there, and the pin that I reamed this hole with this reamer that holds the 5/32 brass tube in which the stainless steel tube rides. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool. It'll be the all carbon fiber stuff, and if I'm clever enough, I'll be able to hide it so you really won't see much of it at all. So there you go, boys and girls. And look, I have all the carbon fiber in the world. You know that's 20 years of saving up miscellaneous scrap pieces, from the flimsiest to the meatiest. Okay, boys and girls, until next time, jet out. Good morning and welcome back, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Eastern Wing this time. I'm about to mix up some epoxy, and let me show you what I'm doing. First off, I have I'll eventually cut that part off. I have my block for the tunnel hull, and I'm going to epoxy this piece of carbon fiber on using this as a guide, and then once I've got it clamped, I'll pull that out. Then I'll sand this to the same shape as that and repeat it on the other side. Oh, this is the side I've scuffed up already. So I'm going to be epoxying that, putting a clamp on it and pulling this. And I'm going to epoxy these formers. Now what I've done, see, I have my nice magnetic building board, and these neodymium magnets really slam that thing right down on the board. So this is dead flat. And then with this, I go in here and I make sure that all these are fully seated in here. And I'm going to use these as alignment tools, use these chine rails as alignment tool to hold everything in place. And these keep everything nice and square. So everything's good and square. You got to make sure you use a non-magnetic, otherwise the magnets, yeah. Anyway, so this piece holds everything nice and square, so we're good to go. Now, the plan is I'm just going to take a toothpick and run just ever so small of a bead. I mean, this is 32nd plywood. I don't need much glue on there, so I'm just going to run just a toothpick, just enough that it'll flow into that joint. And then along. So at that point, with this not glued in, I may consider putting my flotation in. These will be in as well, but they need to get glued together. So I may put my flotation in and then come back with a hot wire or something and cut out these longerons and the chine rails. So we'll just have to see. I may glue this piece in and then build the flotation and just not have it go all the way. I'm thinking about it. It might be easier to cut without this piece. It might be easier to cut with this piece. I don't know. We'll have to see. So there you go. Just a little setup before I throw epoxy at it so you can see what I'm doing. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.